Hello, and welcome to the Through the Eyes of George YouTube channel. Today, specifically, what we're going to be talking about is Major General Baron D. Steuben. He was the general who helped George Washington train, dignify, and help make ready the American troops or the colonial troops during Valley Forge and strengthen the Continental Army to eventually win the American Revolution. Now, there's a lot to be said about Baron D. Steuben, but specifically what we're going to be talking about is his relationship with George Washington, and then that in accordance to today. And there's a lot of things to be said that he was a homosexual or his sexual orientation, whatever people want to call it. And there is a book written in 2008 by Paul Lockhart, and then by Frederick Kapp in the year 1859, that are the two most complete biographies about Baron D. Steuben. And they do talk about and allude to a little bit about Baron D. Steuben's sexual orientation or his sexual preferences. And the founders of our country knew that. John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, they all knew about the rumors about him. Whether they're true or not, it doesn't matter. That's not the point of this video. And George Washington, when he hired somebody, when he hired Baron D. Steuben, he had Benjamin Franklin and others whisk him away before Baron D. Steuben was to be imprisoned for one reason or another to the states or to the colonial states. He hired him because of his professionalism and for his expertise in being a drill master to make the troops ready to fight against the British, because we desperately needed that. And as people know and can see, that is the truth, that we were a ragtag group of people in America. We didn't know much about fighting. We weren't really organized in all of that to an extent. And then George Washington hired Baron D. Steuben, and all of that changed. And Baron D. Steuben, just to give a little, background, he invented or made this thing called the Blue Book. This thing about military professionalism, readiness, how to be cleanliness, how to have cleanliness, how to have hygiene in the military arena, things like that, just for the brevity of time. I highly suggest, if you want to know more about Baron D. Steuben, to read this book by Paul Lockhart. It's very good. It talks a lot about his relationship with George Washington during the American Revolution and afterwards, and how close of an advisor he was to General Washington. Okay, moving on. So, I talked about Baron D. Steuben's sexual orientation. Well, bring that to today. George Washington wanted professionalism. He hired people because they were an expert. And if Baron D. Steuben wouldn't perform, or he couldn't perform his duties of which he was hired, George Washington would have found somebody else. Just like any owner of a business or manager of a business or of a in any kind of military around the world, if you don't perform and you don't have profit of what the desired result is, you're going to be replaced. Well, Baron D. Steuben definitely produced what George Washington wanted, the military readiness that he desired to defeat the British. Now, about his sexual orientation, like I was saying, in 2015, the Supreme Court had a not unanimous, it was 5-4, but a decision saying that all 50 states had to let homosexuals be married or gay couples be married. Now, that's not my cup of tea. I don't support that, but that's the law of the land, and if it's the law of the land, you follow the law of the land. Now, a governor in a state can do what they need to combat that, or whatever they want to do. They're the governor. I'm not the governor, so it's really none of my business per se. But the thing about that Supreme Court decision in 2015, it really negated the 9th and the 10th Amendment, like I was trying to say. The 9th Amendment says The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. The 10th Amendment. The powers not delegated to the states by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Now, in that Supreme Court decision in 2015, they talked a lot about other amendments to the Constitution in the oral arguments to have all 50 states have gay marriage. Excuse me. So, but they didn't really talk about the 9th and the 10th Amendment. They kind of just disregarded the 9th and the 10th Amendment. Well, gay marriage, or you could say people who want to do drugs, like have what's that called? It's legalizing marijuana, to say it very simply. Things like that. Those two things are not in the Constitution. That is what the 9th and the 10th Amendment is for. And sorry for the slow uptake in this video. But I'll be doing a follow-up video to all these other things I've been talking about recently. But I just want to give you a synopsis of all of this. And I believe that it is very unconstitutional for the Supreme Court to say that all 50 states have to let same-sex couples be married. I believe that's up to each individual state, because that's what the 9th and the 10th Amendment protect, is those individual rights that aren't stated in the Constitution are expressly delegated to the people and to the states. And people will comment on this video and say, oh, you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm like, well, what about each individual state? You think you can get 325 million people in the United States to agree? I don't think so. But I'm sure you can get maybe 10 million people or 2 million people to agree on something, generally speaking, within the states. So George Washington, I believe, would be in support of states' rights delegating that, just like with the legalization of marijuana in certain states, which I don't agree with, but that's the right constitutional thing to do. Leave it up to the states to decide. And if you don't like it in your state, then you can move to a different state or go do what you need to do in a U.S. territory. Whatever it is, you have free will to do what you need to do. You do not need permission from the federal government to do whatever you want to do. This isn't the nanny state. The founders of our country did not institute a system of people to take care of us day in and day out. We have free will, if you haven't noticed. So I highly encourage you to really rethink supporting the federal government instituting things across all 50 states in our country, because it really negates the 9th and the 10th Amendment. Thank you for watching this video. Sorry this was kind of quick, but don't forget to comment below, leave thumbs up, and click the notification bell to get more videos. Thank you for watching this video. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.